Well,
Yeah. So, you recording it?
yes.
Okay, so pickling is something that we need to do when we've finished with the reverse osmosis machine, and we don't want to run it, in the next after 4 days. So, if we're going to leave this machine for 3 months, then you have to pickle it. And between 4 days and 3 months, you have to run it about every 5 days. Okay, so, and the reason for that is, as I said previously, is that if you leave the salt water in the reverse osmosis membrane, it goes off and all the little organisms die and they go mouldy and they stuff up the membrane. There is a system, I don't know much about it, look it up on YouTube, but there is a system where you can put some acid into the membrane, and that will dissolve the little crustaceans that have died. But it's not good for the membrane. So anyway, so we're locking ours up, or we're doing ours on our boat because our summer cruise is finished, and we won't be far enough away so we can get water ordinarily. So anyway, so 3 sort of tablespoons of this stuff here. There's one, by the way. That's what it is. It's sodium metabisulfate, which is what they use in beer bottles or something to clean beer bottles and so forth. So anyway, it's supposed to be 3 teaspoons of this.
Teaspoons or tablespoons?
Yeah, whatever that is.
That's a dessert spoon.
Dessert spoon? Cool. And we'll shove the other one in there because that's the end of the packet. All right, and that's all good. Cheap as chips, this stuff. So no problems. We'll give it a bit of a stir. This water is reverse osmosis water. So it's water that you've manufactured. And the reason it's good to use this water is because it doesn't have any chlorine in it. Okay, so if it doesn't have chlorine in it, it can't hurt the membrane, so that's a good thing. There's a few little bobbly ball things in here. Anyway.
They're lumps.
Yeah, lumps. So we'll get rid of all them. You probably want to stop that video now, for a minute or two. Okay, so to start, what we're going to do is simply make sure that the salt water's off, and I'm just going to manually run the fresh water pump through the system, and it'll give me a little bit of pressure, and that just fresh water straight out of my tanks will quietly go through. Obviously won't produce any water, but the fresh water will come in through this solenoid here, through this carbon filter, start to push the salt water out of these 2 filters, come around into the karcher or the high pressure pump, start to flush out the salt water in the karcher. It'll run through the karcher without the karcher running, and run through the high pressure hose into the filter, and start to some water will start to drain out of the filter, as you can see there. So that is fresh water, as you can see. And one of the good little thing about this is, so if I switch this from in to out, I can see, well, we should be able to see hello. Anyway, if I put that to out, it should be reading my total dissolved solids here, but something seems to have happened to my probe. So anyway, not quite sure there. I could have, in times gone past, I could see that this water here was would be salt water, and would eventually the total dissolved solids would come down. So I'll let that run for just a few moments. And I guess it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe measure how much water's coming out of here. And once we got to about 10 litres, then we know that we've got a fair amount of the salt water through. And but anyway, there we go. So we'll just I'll just stop it here for a second and restart in a second. Okay, so there's the bucket complete with chemical in it. What I do here, I must say, I do really like these push-on air fittings, these fittings here, and these ones here, because what we can simply do now is push down, remove the saltwater intake and put it over here. It saves a lot on having to have stop valves and so on. So they're just little push fittings. They're fantastic. I highly recommend that you use them. Okay, so now what I need to do now is to simply start this machine. And what we're doing now is sucking that water out of the bucket through the system, through the cartridge and so forth, and all the way through the system. Once that 10 litres has gone in, that's pickling done. All right, so nothing more to do there. Once all that water's gone, we're in business.